Hola, hola. I'm Trek with two Ks,
And I am 3D, and welcome to Metaverses The Other Side.
brought to you here on the Gentlemen of Crypto Network. Just a heads up, this episode is before we had the idea of bringing the Twitter spaces to the Gentlemen of Crypto Network. And so that's why we're talking about the stuff that we're talking about in this episode.
Okay, so free guy, an NPC in a game, very similar to Grand Theft Auto, Grand Theft Auto Online, becomes aware. Not that he's in a game, that takes some time, but able to perform the same actions and da da da. And this game does have social connections. This game does have missions and other things and stuff.
No, but I'm on the phone with that. I don't know if the delay just for some reason is more than 3 seconds, but it definitely sounds extra delayed what I was trying to listen to on the laptop. Hello?
Yeah. Said the delay is more than 3 seconds from when you were listening to on the laptop.
So, was the first word you said free guy? Because it sounded like you just jumped into a sentence. So, were you talking before you said the phrase free guy?
No, I jumped right into it with free guy.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me, Brosive? I said I jumped right into with the word
What is
free
going
guy.
on?
Man, you on dial up? What's going on here?
Okay, oh man, I said the lap thing X number of minutes ago. Not minutes in full, but like I definitely said the laptop thing a little bit more ago. Um, do you want to? Okay, do you want to try to go out and come back in? And because man, this is gonna be funky.
All right, are we good?
What's going on, bro? I just know that this delay is definitely like more than 5 seconds, and it's really throwing the. Okay. 3D, I can hear that you just came in. I just resent the thing to you, Brandon. I can hear you too, Brandon.
Cool, cool, cool. Are we good now, or is it still a delay?
All right. So Brandon, I can hear you. I don't know if 3D's talking, but I can't hear anything from his side. have no idea. Mm. I don't know what is going on right now, but this is just way more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, so what is going on Twitter? Let's see if this makes a difference.
Yeah, it's like you would send me a clubhouse thing. I'd accept it. As soon as I got another one, my entire front got locked.
Okay. So I can hear you now.
I hear you too.
Alright, so hold on, I'm trying to fix this. Alright. Say something. Hello?
Yeah, sorry, I was tweeting.
Come on, and now the damn. I don't know why the headset just dropped me. The earbuds drop me every time. Not even every time. It worked fine a second ago, and then
it just cuts out, right?
Yeah, it dropped me off. I don't know why, but
I have that same problem sometimes with Bluetooth headsets on Spaces.
funny part is, but it's still connected. Okay, there it is. Okay,
Yeah.
hear it now. Okay, I'm hoping that Brandon makes it back. Because he was the one who came up with the movie. And I did. Damn, where's this thing at? Really? All right. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Okay. All right. Anywho, let us jump into this and we'll see how it goes. I'll have to deal with like some of the editing stuff out later on. All right. So it is all right. Damn, I feel like I gotta start like from the top right now, but I got thrown off. Hola, buenos dias, buenos noches, buenos tardes, G&Gs. My name is Shrek with 2Ks. My co-host here, who can't have co-host status right now, is 3D. This is Metaverses, the other side. And what we have been doing over the last couple of weeks is we have been reviewing movies, cartoons, and TV shows. I don't think we did a TV show yet, bro, that are metaverse related.
Standalone Complex was a TV show.
I put that in the anime category, even though, okay, you're right. Ooh, I don't know the name of this TV show, but there's a live person TV show that like just popped into my head. But nonetheless, we've been going through these things for the last couple of weeks. We've done a couple of different movies and TV show things. And so this week we are doing a movie called Free Guy, which Brandon, who we're trying to get to come back in the room, we had to do a whole reset and everything. He was the one who suggested the movie, and a little bit of backstory. This is a little bit part of the backstory to it, is that he suggested the movie, and me and 3D later on went to go look for the movie, and we were thinking it was like an older movie, and not realizing it was the Ryan Reynolds movie. And so 3D got to watch it before me, and then it was like, I don't know if this is really a metaverse thing. And I had then went and watched it myself, and I was like, well, I think this would still make for a good discussion because it crosses a lot of lines, and I'm gonna just say I think it could make for a good discussion. Whether you think the topic or treatment of the movie is like stupid or whatever is really irrelevant. We're just getting into the whole thing of the UX, UI, hardware, overall experience thing for how we kind of rate these things out in ones and zeros, right? And the idea is um, a zero as no and a one as a yes. So the concept of off and on, was it on or was it off about this whole thing of metaversal experiences and all of that funness. So 3D, I will let you take the lead on this one because you had, I know you had some points on it.
Yeah. So I like to call this on the cusp of a metaverse because I wouldn't really say it's a metaverse, but at the same time, it is a somewhat socially connected video game. And that's actually bottom line. Socially connected video games is what a metaverse is. So when we're looking at the movie and stuff, we have the NPC come alive, whatever. This hits home because people are right now talking about building AI to work in the metaverse. Because we have people that will work in the metaverse for really little, very, very little. And they're like, well, we can replace them with NPCs through AI. And almost it's like, this kind of feels like that. Now, one of the big features in this is to show the difference from the NPC's point of view of who is not an NPC and who is non-NPCs or players have glasses. That's the HUD, right? The heads-up display. And the main character gets that, and boom, he now basically crossed the line from being just an NPC to being a AI player. And we do have Warzone, which someone was just getting me to try out yesterday and today, which has AI players. So in two different instances, we have everything it takes to make what had happened here. It just we haven't put them together yet, and some of the stuff here it's kind of freaky, kind of not. Like, keep in mind, like, they have data storage in this game that's being used for this game. So the real basic premise of how this game came to be with the AI is basically a game was made. It was to become slowly an AI adventure to where every time you log in and play, could be different. You could be completely unique all throughout the game. So an automated system, and it got bought out and it got changed up to basically Grand Theft Auto Online. And the NPCs have that AI structure still in the background. And so there is tons of ways of storing data inside this this game. And we even see them like extract data from it because it's previously old data of someone seeing some glitch in the game from a long time ago, when you kind of get to see inside this the structure that we see in actual metaverses and actual games, and inside the NFT community, inside the crypto community. Some of the people that have been in it for a long time and they have proofs of data and proof of things, they tend to get a lot more recognition. And there's the guy that they get this data point from. he's basically nobody, but because he's been playing the game for so long and he's been streaming it all the time, he has a lot of footage of things that other people won't have, and it gives him this extra recognition. And I don't know, it's just the whole thing gets really weird in a weird, strange way. Like, I know Trek had some complaints about how they were typing and stuff, and I absolutely agreed with him. Trek, you want to go further into like their hacking in this case?
Okay, so let me jump back a couple and kind of throw some, not caveats, but maybe a little bit more light on certain parts of this movie overall, and then like the style of it. So what was going on, like 3D said, it's that two really, interested game people developed their own code. The initial idea, which you don't even get this part of it in the beginning of the movie, it comes out way towards the end of the movie, that they designed the game to have NPCs that would eventually, create their own develop into having their own self-awareness, and then they would do things arguably based on their free will. They would, what's the thing where you develop awareness, but the sentient, yeah, they would become sentient. So the idea was to get the NPCs to be able to do that, which would then totally change out the user experience for a player in the real world to go into a video game virtual world and interact with friend or foe NPC who would not just be running off of a standard repetitive like standard set of behavior patterns. It could go any which way. That was the intention. The other thing to know about this movie is it crosses. Okay, it's supposed to cross between real world and virtual world. We're going to use the word metaverse interchangeably in the rest of this conversation. And so that is what they want you to understand in how the movie is put together. But visually, when they get into the virtual side, what they're really doing is replacing it with regular cinematography. So it looks like you're watching real people in a regular type of real person movie. There are instances where they show it to be a game in display, and it only really happens the couple of times where they show Free Guy or other things going on in the game on a computer monitor or on one of the like display screens, when there was stuff going on towards the end where like everyone was watching it, and then they were like it was literally just like um watching somebody play Grand Theft Auto, and you're looking at it as in a game visual style. It isn't looking like a real person movie at that point. But when they were actually doing in the metaverse world itself, it was from the camera point of view of seeing them as real people. So Free Guy, who is John Reynolds, you see him as, quote, a real person, like he has skin and hair and blah 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 blah. Now, like 3D said, like this thing is kind of on the cusp of it, where there, and I don't know if it's a matter of if they would have had more CGI side stuff, or at least how it looked cinematography wise, it probably would have made more sense. And I'm not saying it as, I take back the CGI comment, because as Free Guy got the glasses, and they were like shades, the glasses in this world were what allowed the players to see all of the AR related content that was covered all over the world. So you saw where the health was, you saw where the money was, you saw where the next target was, you saw the visual map, you saw your life point, you saw all of that. The NPCs never saw any of that stuff because they did not have the glasses, which was what gave you the visual of the other filter layer going on. Other thing to note though, even though they were doing repetitive behaviors, I would argue that, and I'm saying this to you, 3D in particular, that it was more so a matter of time before one of the characters, and correct me if I'm wrong, but was it that only Free Guy had that code in his, like, that particular function to expand in his code, or did like the whole game have it? It just happened that it worked out with him first.
Okay, so the best way to say that is basically that was happening behind the scenes. Every NPC had a full memory of their entire everything, all the resets, everything. There is a bit of minor memory loss per time they die, though. But Free Guy's the only one that had the code to allow everyone to be able to understand that they have this extra side of them, personality and individual Satanism, or not Satanism, sentience. And it took that one chick's ass to make that happen, which I think is the dumbest thing in the world. It should have been like one of her favorite her character tags or something like that.
Was it the ass though?
It's actually said in the movie, it's her ass.
Really?
It's actually said that in the movie.
Never mind then.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you remember, he makes that tape, and it's like she's like rewatching the tape, and he's like, "Yeah, well, it had to be something, I thought blah 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 blah." And then, like near the end of the whole movie, you see a last little bit of that clip, and he says, "So I used your ass." Yeah,
That's
kind of stupid.
I feel like I don't remember him saying I used your ass, but okay, I'm gonna roll with it. All right, so
Well, I think he actually says like I used you as the main thing or whatever. But Free Guy in the movie saw her ass, and that is actually what unlocks him. That's why he leaves the bank.
all right. I'm not gonna challenge that one because I do not remember right now what he was actually looking at. I remember the scene,
Yeah,
but I don't remember.
You'll go rewatch it now, and then you'll be like, "Damn, there it is. He saw her ass." And then the next day, he saws her ass again, and he walks out of the bank.
All right, I have to jump on that one another time. But getting into the parts of like what made it metaversal is it was a game environment, is it was a combination of AR, VR, it's a whole XR experience. If you are a live person, quote, playing in the game, the idea, well, it wasn't full immersion because you couldn't smell, you couldn't feel, and there was something else that you couldn't do that I can't think of right now. But as far as what they were, quote, trying to convey, the AR thing was heavy in that movie for when they were in the metaverse world, right? So, and the glasses, or so here's the other thing to note about that. It didn't matter what your glasses were. Like if you had pilot frames on, or if you had like shades, or if you had like regular clear glasses, or if you had all right, the dude who was the info guy who told her first about like, hey, here's where that data is you want. He had on a gas mask joint. If you,
Yeah. I think an important part to put in is that only the NPCs see the glasses. So even if your character doesn't have glasses, the NPCs see you with glasses. And the gas mask, I think, was supposed to be equivalent to glasses. Although that probably would have been something the player put on.
But that's what I'm saying, though. I don't know. I think the people saw everyone else in glasses. If you were a live player, if you look at all of the live players, they had different types of glasses. They had different type of eyewear. Let's put it that way. Different type of eyewear.
True, but we don't see other players playing through the view of the player. We do see views up from the player, but they're never looking at other players. So that's why I think it strictly, because like remember he takes the glasses off that guy in the bank, and the girls on the other side are like, "What the fuck is he doing?" What, like they're completely confused of what's going
The
on.
girl is doing it. No, here's how I know, because there was a scene where someone makes the point that he took the glasses off of somebody.
Oh yeah, the like the YouTubers. Yeah, you're right.
Somebody made that point. Also, thing to note, there was a shit ton of YouTuber gaming people and like A-list, B-list actors in this movie. I'm not even gonna lie, I did not know damn near none of the YouTube people.
Dude, my youngest daughter, almost every person that popped up, she knew, and then the people she didn't know, I knew. I think that's something they did well here is they picked stuff that they knew would have really happened in real life, and they showed us the side of what most people view as TV, not like traditional TV, because we didn't actually see but like maybe one news station. The rest of everything else were like streamers or YouTubers or commenters on social media systems talking about it, and I think that was kind of cool.
I think that was a good take on how information and news consumption works right now. It's not your
exactly.
It's not your primetime stations, and arguably it's not even your cable news networks now like that. So I think that was a good one. Even though I didn't know who X number of the people were, I got what that was. Where it was like, wow, like y'all are really just running through some of these major folks right now. Like, okay, got it.
Yeah, every time Jacksepticeye Pokemon went on screen, my daughter was like, Jacksepticeye, that's Pokemon, it's Pokemon. Like, who else was in that movie? She doesn't. She said she didn't remember. Yeah, like that's crazy. That's that one.
No problem. What was I gonna say? All right, I'm trying to remember like the flow and order of okay, boom. So what you initially was talking about, that was my first issue, was when Free Guy starts to develop sentience. The devs, I forgot the two guys' name, but one of the dudes was the actual dude who coded Free Guy. And now it makes sense to me why he wouldn't go up to one of the higher positions in the company, because he wanted to stay in that position to be able to watch how Free Guy developed. I just put that shit together.
But yeah, that's correct. You wanted to make sure that, because remember, he is in the position he's at. He's still trying to find proof that his original game is in there. So that's the real reason why he's in that position to find his game.
He didn't come off like that, but yeah. So spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. We're gonna talk about some things in this movie. And so what is it? So what's the dude? Cheese? What's the guy's name? Sean? Chris? Something. Him and the other guy, they see the glitch, and see, now that I'm looking at it, I don't really believe he was looking for the thing. I think the girl was, for sure. Well, for sure on her side, but I don't think he was looking the same way she was looking. Because remember, like, she had to convince him to, like, hey,
Yeah, you're right. But I don't think he knew Free Guy specifically had the thing. I don't think he knew who had it.
But I think he was watching.
But you're right. I will admit, the other chick was actually looking.
Right, but I think he was at least waiting to see if there was any type of development. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because he was actually like, yeah, because you're right. Because that's a couple times we see bits of his computer screen stuff. He has all of the NPCs as data on screen. So you're right. He was checking like all of the NPCs or something like that.
Okay, so I'm sorry, y'all. Jumping into the part about the devs, and so when they discover Free Guy, and what they initially think is just a glitch. I forgot what he did, but nonetheless, they take it as a glitch, and they figure, all right, we'll go in and we'll just kick the person out. They think it's somebody who took a skin and then put it on a live person character. Now,
yeah, they thought that they stole the NPC skin.
Right. So, the way that they were interacting in that metaverse, it just didn't make sense to me. I understand shortcut keys. I understand, some people type faster than others, but like they were doing stuff like rearranging entire structures. And it's just like, all right, how does that work as shortcut keys? Like, how are you typing it in that fast and then you're making these movements?
Yeah, and then I think anybody who's actually used a 3D editor or anything, or a game designer system, you have to do that stuff with your mouse. Like you have to drag and drop and move and physically move the stuff. You can't just like type it in the keyboard and it moves.
There was no mouse, y'all. There was no mouse. Okay. So the way they were doing that was like throwing me off, because it was like, how the hell are y'all like running right now? Or how are you jumping? Or how is it that you made the whole middle structure build out the stairs? And it wasn't even like they were typing fast. That's the other part that got me, where it's like, see, this is the little part right here that just throws off the whole thing for me. Because y'all didn't even try to like do something on that, or like make some fucking new input device that it worked for them to do that like that. Like, like there was no haptic suits. There's no fucking headgear on the real world people. None. There's no glasses. There's no Oculus. There's nothing. They're all sitting at their desktops in front of a keyboard, which is just like, how are we doing this level of interaction in this virtual world with just the keyboard? No, I'm not taking that one. There's something else too that I can't think of right now, but if you're gonna jump on another point.
I don't know. It's a bit strange. Like when they go into the room that would be like your server room in the game, and you can talk to everybody. If you played Diablo 2, like Diablo 2 or Diablo 3, you know that they have a chat room before you actually go play games. So when they go into that whole room, that train that automatically kills NPCs from passing that spot. But the only thing that keeps like when you put the glasses on, the train turns into something completely different, that you would expect to see in like a game like Diablo or something. And it just kind of passes by to represent the train. And that was a bit strange, because it's like Free Guy being in that space, and they do the whole server thing and everything freezes because he's in that whatever, and they like just reset basically the RAM buffers, like where he's at and stuff. Like they're explaining that this, we're doing it like this, we're doing it like that. And since we've actually been doing some metaverse hacking and stuff, we know that like a lot of that stuff really isn't true. And then like when he goes at the end, the guy goes down and he's like slashing the servers physically. Well, like, yeah, that's, like in real life, if you had a mass server farm and you did something like that to one set of servers, a large portion of servers are going to automatically shut down. And nothing like how we're seeing it. Or if you're running a server farm where each individual server is not daisy chained but individually connected, it would have done absolutely nothing. Like, it would have been able to handle the load, especially since like all the players were booted. You have no other players.
Sorry, you jumped mad. You jumped mad far ahead.
My
mad far
bad.
ahead. No, don't worry about it. So let's do some house cleaning real quick. If you don't know, this is Metaverses the Other Side. The basic idea is we talk about the more geekier side of things related to metaverses. This is not about tokens. This is not about flipping. This is not about price talk. This ain't about speculation. That's not what we're doing here. We geeking out about the things that we are experiencing, me in 3D, in playing around and building in metaverse spaces. The particular one we focus on is Uplift, which is based in the Minecraft ecosystem. And yeah, that's where we are. But we also mess with other things too. And one of the things we are doing right now is a campaign on different types of movies and TV shows that are metaverse related. And this happens to be this week, which is a joint called Free Guy. Other thing to note is we have worked to put together a metaverse toolbox that basically allows you to use open source, low code, no code, and code ready free tools of being able to create in metaverses, such as making NFTs, DAOs, smart contracts, and things along that line, as well as being able to convert some of your art stuff in there. We're definitely going to end up expanding the list of things because now with this AI stuff coming on, it's going to look so different come 2025, y'all. Y'all have no idea. If you're not paying any attention to metaverse stuff, oh man, it's going to be a whole different thing. But nonetheless, the idea of what we're trying to do is bring people's awareness to how this stuff is developing out in the now. It's not, well, we want to do these things 20, 30 years down the road. Like, no, people are trying to figure this out now, and they're going through the trial and error of, creating and breaking, and then figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And that's the things that we're trying to bring to people's attention, whether you're an actual creative person or whether you are a dev, like a coder level person. There is something out here that you can use to be able to get into this metaverse space and like just hit the ground and run and figure out what does or doesn't work by trial and error, break it, fix it. There you go. Other thing to note is we have partnered up with the Gentlemen of Crypto Network or Gentlemen of Crypto YouTube channel. And we are the first late night show on the Gentlemen of Crypto YouTube channel. The Metaverses, the other side, these Twitter spaces, we're recording them and we're taking them over to that network. And so 11 p.m. Fridays, East Coast time, again, East Coast time at 11 p.m. Is when these episodes air. And we're doing some other kind of funky stuff with it where, if you don't know, Twitter spaces are like podcasts. They're just audio. So visually speaking, what you will be seeing on the screen when you watch an episode on YouTube is not what we're talking about. It will be two different things going on. Think of, and if you are not aware of it, it's a cartoon called Midnight Gospel. We don't got the Midnight Gospel budget, but we are working to have it that you hear the Twitter space conversation, and then visually we're doing stuff like exploring different metaverses. We might be building on one of the plots that we own, or we might be building on somebody else's plot because we design and create for people inside the Uplift metaverse. And we just might be doing some other stuff like throwing in some AI, like text to video generative art, or text to picture generative art. And yeah, like, this is the geekier side of metaverse stuff, right? That's what we about. And hopefully we get some other folks out there who are also interested in geeking out about things going on in the metaverse. And we definitely look forward for a couple more episodes to take some suggestions of movies or TV shows or episodes in regards to series that we could look at and be like, okay, how is this in relation to how we look at metaverses? We basically use a metrics of UI, UX, overall experience, and hardware, and we give it a 1 or we give it a 0. It's binary. It ain't nothing complicated. It's either it do it or it don't. And so that's for the housekeeping. I just had to throw that out there to let folks know. And if you're interested, if you're hearing this on the YouTube side and you're interested in hearing or being a part of this on the live side, catch us on Thursdays at 8 p.m. That's how it goes down. All right. So I see some other folks just jumped in the room. I just want to say thank you to Danish Crypto and MP and Coyote Plans. Thank y'all for tapping in. If y'all want to say something, raise your hand so I can hit y'all with the speaker invite, and then we can go from there because we definitely want to get folks to be a part of this conversation. And yeah, 3D, if you got something.
Yeah, I got one more point. So we have a metaverse hacking thing going on. We're not really calling it that anymore. Just not true to what hackathons are anymore. And it's coming up in like in a weekend or two. But one of the things that we were doing in this current one is we're breaking permissions in metaverses. So I want to figure out how can we destroy the permissions that exist within the space. And in Free Guy, they actually like the game. It's like the way it's set up and layered is they kind of find ways to do this too. There's a couple sections in the movie where we see people like teleport. Basically, they open up door, they go through it. But we also see people get pushed into a hidden space that would just be a permission layer inside of this area or whatever. But then the way they stored the original game off out on the side is exactly how like for example, Danish and I, we broke some of the rule sets permissions, they so to speak, not really permissions but rule sets in Digicon, and we got up on top of the buildings, we got on top of this giant screen. And something that I do in, like I've done in Halo, and I've done a bunch of other games, I've done it in Minecraft before 1.15, and where you use the objects to actually get in places you shouldn't be able to do. And on Halo, the original Halo, if you go to the original Halo multiplayer map, there is an actual top level. Like people have gotten up there and stuff, and you can actually get up there and you have access to the entire map from the edges. And it's just kind of cool to see, like in a movie, that actually the way they would have got to it, like building up a bridge and then getting out there and then jumping, kind of true to a lot of this type of metaverse hacking or game hacking and breaking the permissions and stuff. I like that. So for a lot of the things that go like really weird in this movie, that it has almost an equal amount of stuff that would be or is legit to what's going on. And that's absolutely something that I did like about that. They tried to mix it up with reality and fiction, and into a way where it makes sense. Like this, I could actually see someone building a game of Free Guy, but you're not actually Free Guy. You're a different NPC, or you could randomly be picked as an NPC, and you're brought into a space, and you get to pick and choose. Like, do you do good? Do you do bad? It just, I don't know. That was my last point. Just how close it is to some of the permissions breaking and stuff that we've done in metaverses.
Okay. So, you know what else I just thought of when you said that? I'm surprised nobody didn't. Okay? You know how when certain things happen in the space, people just instantly go and make a token and then do a quick flips, like pump and dump, flip with it. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not saying Free Guy is the best movie in the world, or like um the best, like it's definitely not the best metaverse example, right? Um but imagine if a movie did come out and like part of what they did was play on the NFT thing. And okay,
Yeah. That would have been a great way to advertise this movie. And I just want to point out there is token called Free Guy on Binance Smart Chain.
Okay, so somebody did do it. Okay. Where was I going though? Okay, boom. I'm gonna throw this one out. All right. I'm sorry. I'm laughing to myself because in the description for this on the YouTube side, one of the things that I mentioned is we don't do price talk, but sometimes we throw interesting business model ideas out there to see what can be applied in, metaverse stuff. And the idea that I just had, which I imagine somebody probably already thought of this or somebody's trying to work on it, but let me just say the idea. So you do the movie, you have X number of the characters that, like, of course, your mainstream characters or your main characters, you're gonna make NFTs of them and like try to pump those things. I think my idea of what I'm saying is more towards the degen grouping of folks who would look at it and go, well, like the idea of like once you put this out into the world, into the space, and if we're really working on like this whole open market narrative of how this technology works, this open source technology that is available to all, you would take the character or some kind of thing within the game, whether we're talking about an item or whatever, and you make that NFT related to that. Now, granted, okay, another a caveat to the idea, or variation to the idea. You make the movie, you do a open license or an open project and go, hey, whoever can come up with the best NFT related project to this movie, and granted, there might be like certain limitations and stuff. And maybe this could be because, all right, you know how the stuff is going on right now with the royalties war stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
3D.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it could go one of two ways. If you are a arguably greedy person, it would be like, hey, let's keep the royalties in because this way, like, we could make the movie or the franchise to where it has like the perpetual ability to get some kind of revenue off of this NFT thing. And who knows how the community might take that. I'm really looking at this from a community standpoint, not necessarily from like the Hollywood production side of we made something and then we want blah 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 versus how the crypto space is argued to be very community based, right? And so as it is the community, it's like, well, does this thing that you put out, this created movie that you put out into the community, does the community accept it? And if the community accepts it and then they accept the project that you say, hey, whoever makes this best NFT project, you can get X amount of the revenue from it. You can run the one direction of it being where you have the royalties in it. The obviously, well, arguably, the 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 production company and then the NFT creative side person, they'll make whatever split that is they make. The production company, Hollywood, they get their perpetual thing, and then you have like the creator who gets their perpetual revenue off of when those creations are sold, right? But it's the other part of like you gotta let the open market create the stickiness around the characters that works for the open market. Like just because the main character's name is John, and everybody's like, oh yeah, John is the main character, and blah blah blah, and like that's the big name. But then the community's like, well, no, we don't give two shits about John. We actually like the character that was only in there for like 4 seconds, and they had the most funniest moment, right? And that's the character or that's the NFT that ends up blowing up. The other way that you could possibly run is no royalties and be like, yo, this is a straight limited min edition thing. It's only going to be X number of these things pushed. And like, there's the part of where you can do like, it has some level of utility for something beyond the first movie, or case in point, you could be like, yo, if you buy this, you get a cameo in the second movie. If we do enough of this sale, you can do a cameo in the second movie.